Hello lads and welcome to yet another video. Now lately I've been thinking about companions. You remember those? Those are like a fundamental aspect to Doctor Who's dynamic, and I've been thinking about them, and specifically I've been thinking about what Stephen Moffat has said about companions, specifically one specific. I think it was in an interview with the Fan Show, maybe, or Doctor Who magazine. I'm not too sure, and I can't be asked to do research. That's very important when I do this contextual bit. He said something along the lines of, there is a problem with companions, and he says it's a problem, but I can think of at least two very obvious solutions to solve that problem. And he says the problem is that there's a sort of difficulty when tackling their reactions to Daleks, because Daleks have invaded the Earth a couple of times now, mass invasions. You've got stuff like from Doomsday, and you've got Journey's End, stuff like that. They're very noticeable events involving Daleks, so having new, fresh reactions to Daleks somehow proves to be a struggle. As I say, I can think of two very obvious solutions to this. One, make the companion not from the present day, so either make them from the past or the future, so their knowledge of Daleks is a bit non-existent, or two, have them from not on Earth, so they have never even heard of what a Dalek is before. Now, I know this isn't a revolutionary idea. I'm not the first one to come up with this. In fact, this is something that almost everyone has been crying out for the past couple of years now. But I think one of the main worries surrounding a companion who's not from present-day Earth is, how will they be relatable? How will we, as an audience, relate to these characters if they don't reflect us in a way? And I think it's very a sort of non-valid argument, this. I mean, perhaps maybe it is a worry trying to get some relatability from like an alien or something who we're supposed to sympathise with, but if it's done right and if it's done good with writing, if that makes sense, then it can very easily be done. Now, going back to 2005 with Rose, her sort of relatability was sort of needed because we were having a brand new direction and a brand new renewal of Doctor Who, as it were, and we needed an easy point to get in. We needed someone who the everyday person could relate to. We needed a working class, sort of chavvy girl, and that was for the everyday audience. That was someone who could say, oh, look, that's me, and oh, wow, now I can easily get into this show by connecting to this character, and I can travel with her, which is very much what the 2005 era of Doctor Who was. It was sort of a soap, and that's fine because that's what the audience needed to get into this world. But now it's been more established and the world of Doctor Who is more known. I mean, there are people out there who have never seen an episode of Doctor Who before, but they still know what a Dalek is, they still know what a TARDIS is. It's very well known. We don't really need that. We do need a sort of ease of accessibility, but we don't need it as much. We don't need it in that form. If we can have it with an alien or something, then why not? And I think another thing, when people talk about relatability, you don't have to relate to a character just because they go out every Friday and get some chips, or they go to Morrison's every other week, or they do boring human things, and the theme of Doctor Who is breaking out of that mundaneness and travelling to the stars. I mean, because that has been done a few times now over the past 10 years or so with New Who. And relatability doesn't come from the situations you're put in, it comes from the journey that a character takes. Because if I want to get philosophical for a bit here, then life is just a big journey. It's a journey of everyone discovering who they are and what sort of person they are, whether it's for better or for worse. The person and the situations you're in now is not going to be the same as in 5 years' time or 10 years' time. And we're all discovering who we are, and we're all going through our own personal, emotional journeys. And that anyone can have that. Any character can have that, whether it's someone from the Edwardian era, or whether it's an alien from Crombobulon 5, or whether it's a personified lamp or something. If it's got a face and a voice and a character, then it should have that journey. And that can relate to the everyday person, if you will. Like, let's say, for example, the next companion after Bradley Walsh and all that gang is like a Dr. Spock type character who is a total alien and whose culture is totally different from ours. His culture or something, he's just an emotionless brick wall. He doesn't empathise, he doesn't sympathise with anyone, he doesn't care. that's not relatable. Nobody can relate to that. We're humans, we have emotions. If we get introduced to an alien without any emotions, how are we supposed to empathise with that? Well, that's the thing. If we have done just this specific example, this can be adapted in several ways, but if we had this, then that could be a sort of exaggeration of how we feel, because I think a lot of people, at some point in their life, if I'm judging by the Facebook posts that girls that I knew in high school post all the time, then we do shut people out sometimes, and we push people away, whether it's for our emotional benefit or whatever it goes on. We do sometimes block people out, and this emotionless wall of an alien, he could go through a journey where he discovers that it's safe to care and it's safe to love people, and he discovers these new set of feelings as he travels with the Doctor, not romantically with her, or not necessarily, but for life, and he just begins to appreciate life and the people in the universe. And this is very exaggerated if you're just turning from an emotionless brick to a sympathetic love being, and no one can really literally relate to that, but we can all sort of have a sense of ourselves where we shut people out, and we can learn through that alien that it's okay to bring people in, and that's fine. That is a sort of relatability. I'm not saying that example is the only example. You can apply that to lots of things. If you just think of a situation or a journey that you have been through, whether it's through relationships with friends or family, or I don't know, just anything, any journey that has changed you, exaggerate that and put it in an alien or put it from someone in the past, and that is relatable. You don't have to buy chips to be relatable. I think another main aspect of companions is they don't necessarily have to be relatable to be liked or to be a good character. What they need to be, what is more important than being relatable to the everyday audience, is being likeable. Now, I'm going to bring in Clara. She was, at her bare bones, she was a present-day girl who was spunky and feisty and lived up to all the modern sort of attitudes, but she wasn't likeable. She was too perfect, for one, and we couldn't, as I say, relate to that because we all have flaws. That's another thing. For a companion to be good, they have to have some sort of flaws, whether it's emotional flaws or even physical flaws. If, I don't know, if she's deaf or something, I don't know, that's just an extreme, and then I feel like they went, oh, okay, she is a bit too perfect, she saved the Doctor's life, and she's just this great Mary Sue of a character, let's bring her in some flaws. And then she started, through series 8 and 9, she became a bit of a, excuse my French, lay bitch. And there's this very fine line between a flawed character and a character which isn't likeable, because for a character to be likeable, they've got to see their flaws and work on them. And that's the journey aspect again. We all have flaws, and we all ideally want to work on them. And if a character on screen does that, then we get to like them more, because we think, oh, if they're working on their flaws, then surely I can see if I can work on mine. A very low-tier aspect of that sort of analysis. But yeah, Nardole. Who was Nardole? There was nothing relatable about Nardole. He didn't go on a journey or anything. He didn't really embody anything that it means to be human. He didn't go through any human journeys. But he was still likeable. He was funny. He was a comic relief. And even if it's just the gimmick that people like, I felt more sympathy for him when he left and when Clara left, because I enjoyed watching him, and that's the most important aspect. It doesn't care. You can throw everything else out the window. The rest of this video can make literally zero effect on anything else. As long as they're likeable, and as long as the audience likes them and sort of gets attached to this character, then you've won. Then that's success. I mean, obviously, it'd be better if Nardole did have a journey or something. I'm not saying that he's an imperfect character, because he's literally the embodiment of perfect. But we also had Bill, and she went through a sort of journey through relationships and sort of that. Not to the best. She didn't really have a sort of cause to effect relationship journey, which I think the ideal character should have. But she still had that journey, and that was because she was the primary companion. That was something we could connect with. Nardole was just a side companion. He was a gimmick more than anything, but they were both likeable, and which is why I like the series 10 companions, because one of them's relatable, one of them's likeable. Now, if we could get a bit of Bill in a character, and if we could get a bit of Nardole, put them together to sort of embody one character, that'd be perfect. Someone who is likeable and, who the audience enjoys watching, but someone who also goes through emotional journeys. yeah, if you want me to explain anything, or if there's anything I missed out, slap it in the comments and I'll try and answer them there. Tell me what you want to see from a character as per, I don't care. But yeah, see you next time. While I'm here, I might as well bring it up. My hair, do you remember that? That's still coming off. That's coming off July 21st. So if you want to donate, I'm going to leave a link to the thing. You can read about it there, and I'll also link to the video where I explain whatever I'm talking about properly. But that's just a little footnote. Also, next video is going to be the last in the spin-off series for the Clone Doctor, so have fun with that. This is just getting very elongated and unnecessary now, so I'm just going to end the video with no explanation.